McLaren, they had a great comeback from 2015 to 2019, when they were almost like back of the grid car. And unluckily for Fernando Alonso, he was driving for McLaren then with, I think, Stoffel Van Dorn.
Yep.
And it was just bad luck. I
And
mean,
he was making Norris get coffee and all for him. Coffee
really?
or tea, whatever. There's actually this video where he comes and gives the cup and then Fernando drinks and then he comes to take it back. And I think at that time he was the reserve driver or some shit like that.
Oh,
It's
damn.
really funny. It's really funny. Hey, what's up, viewers? What's rocking? Oh, look at the birthday boy. He's just on his toes after spa, and I think he's going to go for a spa today. But today, I mean, jokes apart, today we're discussing about a Spa, the amazing race at Spa, the chaotic race at Spa, the ultimate dominance at Spa, and then we're also reviewing Zandvoort. With that being said, I think the birthday boy has to start. Mr. Birthday Boy, how are you?
I'm good. And also, dear viewers and listeners, today is not my birthday, but by the time this podcast comes out, it definitely will be my birthday. So I'm doing great. Not so great mentally because I had to go for a therapy session after the great Ferrari, yet another strategic disaster. Luckily, the explosion wasn't as bad as what I expected because I started expecting the worst. So I'm better. What's up with
Uh,
you?
I am doing good, Mr. Abhinav. I think you know me. We're there just below you.
Yeah, that's what
But
she said.
you know me. That's what she said. But you know me, I'm doing amazing. With such an amazing race, especially, we did not have a race for close to a month, right? Can't be happier because we are back here at Spa. We're back racing. That's what we love. In fact, that's what drives us. Come whatever work it is, right? Wherever we are, and I'm sure Abhinav knows this, wherever we are, the phone's always there. We're watching the race, right?
Yeah,
Especially if there's a 1 month break and racing comes back. That's amazing.
that's
But
very
with that
good.
being said, amazing. I mean, what a race it was. Way before the race itself, I think some news that came in was a whole host of people got grid penalty,
Yeah,
right? And the count kept going. And we were scared for a while because some of the top guys, Max, Charles, uh, yeah, I think rest all were okay, right? Bottas and Joe. But yeah, pretty
Norris.
much, yeah, Norris, exactly. So all of them got a grid penalty. We were actually worried who will win, what would the start be? If it's a very chaotic start, can these guys go in? But they somehow managed to get through, right? The qualifying was there, right? It was not an eventful sort of a qualifying, but we kind of expected those top guys in there. Did you find anyone unexpected in the top in the qualifying?
I would say Max Verstappen just had his own swag in qualifying. I mean, the way he qualified was in style. Just did one lap in Q3 and just sat out, put on his hat, and just waited for him, people to interview him. That's literally the Chad moment of Max Verstappen. And we thought that was the peak Chad moment, but that was not. We waited for the next day to witness the real Chad moment of Max Verstappen. I mean, what a drive! What a drive! I mean, this is Max era. Max era has arrived, and I believe races are going to be boring here on. Just like Lewis era, we saw Lewis dominating from anywhere on the grid. He would just come off to the front, right? I mean, 14-1 is no joke, and he just did it 14-1 within a span of 18 laps. And what was going on? He was like 2 seconds faster than the rest. I mean, per lap.
Yeah, but you know what? The interesting thing is that Red Bull is literally a rocket ship, right? It's probably
Absolutely.
not. It's not probably Red Bull's car. It's probably say NASA's car or say SpaceX car, because it's just flying and no one. I mean, even the guys that they're trying to overtake, All of them,
Yeah,
when they see the Red Bull in their mirror, they like, let's not defend it. I mean, come on, it's not our race at all. Let's just
absolutely.
leave this guy and let him win, right? But what a dominance. We've seen this dominance from Mercedes for years. And are we seeing Red Bull taking that path, right? Which is they're going to be dominating the next 3, 4 years. And who knows, like Max might have 6 or 7 world championships. And then after the seventh world championship in the Abu Dhabi, coincidentally, some race director might just screw up and then a new world champion might come in.
Yeah, George Russell. The championship is going to go one way and it's going to be British, not Dutch. Yeah, I think it'll be a proper deja vu. But future for the future, but present is literally owned by Max Verstappen. He's breezing past people, and the drive reminded me of Hamilton's drive at Brazil last year. The way he came from last to first was incredible. I mean, what a drive! What a drive! And also, we are on a verge of a history because Max is already he already has finished 9 wins this season, and the record is held by, I believe, Sebastian Vettel with 13 wins in a season. And I believe Max can easily surpass it at this level.
Yeah, but it's interesting you talked about Lewis Hamilton, right? The man was walking in the desert. Those memes were so damn funny.
Yeah.
But what did you think? Who was wrong? Who was right? And I know obviously we know the decision, right? But do you think what is the repercussion of this whole incident?
I mean, there is no repercussion as such. It was just surprising to see Lewis make a mistake like that, because a driver of his caliber does not make errors of this kind. But then he did, because all great champions do make mistakes. And we saw the strange error, and it definitely was his error. And everybody said it. Even he said it. He just, admitted it, and he said that, yeah, it was my fault. And he just left, and Alonso was left, cursing and things like that. But I believe even Alonso, it was a heat of a moment thing, because the way he saw the race, right? He started at almost P3, so he had a chance at podium. So, but I believe still Fernando finished where he had to finish. P5 is like great for him. The gods of Ferrari blessed him with one extra extra place, 2 points.
But do
So
you think he regrets what he spoke? I mean, because at least it seemed like he regretted.
I think he did, because I although it was like heat of a moment thing, he should have ended it there. But he even an idiot is also okay. But after that, saying things like he only knows to start from first, okay, even that I understand. But then why did he have to like wag finger at him when he was coming on a next lap and Hamilton was like standing stranded next to the track? I mean, that wasn't cool. So maybe he regretted little, but he tried to play it off cool. Um, but I think things happen.
Yeah, but it would have been so nice. I mean, I feel, right, as the person who always routes for underdogs, I feel that if Hamilton would have finished,
Mhm.
maybe I think, I don't know, correct me, what do you think? But I think it would have been, say, P5 for Hamilton, right? Easily.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and that would have actually impacted the whole second thing, right? Who's second on the championship, right? Whether if it's Ferrari or Mercedes. But with Hamilton out, I think that is still there to play for, right? Which is the second place. And that's what's going to make it exciting, because Ferrari clearly is doing nothing. Like we all know, they're making amazing strategies even after summer break.
They definitely are. I mean, they didn't screw up strategy till almost the end, but then it happened. It had to happen with the fastest lap bet, because so apparently the story that happened was that Max Verstappen took out his tear off and he threw it immediately after the Hamilton incident, and the tear off went and got stuck in his right front brake duct, and that led to quite a bit of heating issues, etc. And that's the reason why Leclerc pitted early. And lucky they took off the tire, and also with that the tear off that came off. But then there was some sensor issues and overheating issues that did not allow Leclerc to see the pit limit speed that's happening, and he oversped by 1 kilometer per hour, and he lost 1 point, actually 2 points, in pursuit of gaining one. So that's pretty sad. I mean, that sums up his luck, right? I mean, the terror of getting stuck in someone's duct, and like poetically or whatever you call it, it happened to be Max's tear off. But yeah, that is that.
But I
Uh,
think Max has already won the championship, right? Do you think anything can happen? I mean, obviously they say, hey, look, in Formula One, anything can happen. But at this point, pretty much Max has just won the championship, and he would have been, thank God, he would have been happy. He would be like, it's not like last year where every single race it takes his all his blood, sweat, and tears, right? And I think Nico had told that, because he said if you have to win against him, you need to put every single ounce of like stuff that you have in your body to win, right? Be it your
Absolutely.
mental game, be it your physical game, be it your emotional game, it all has to be top notch. And man,
Yeah,
like what a guy, Max. I
what a
don't
guy.
know.
Absolutely. I mean, the lessons learned from last year's season, the mental grit that Max Verstappen showed to the world by beating Lewis Hamilton in every way possible, that was just epic, and it has just taken him to another level right now. And I believe that for Leclerc to come at that level, it'll take him easily 2 years, because I don't see him winning world championships if Red Bull has a dominant car, especially, and Max Verstappen is in the form that he is in right now. And like you said about Lewis Hamilton, right? Nico has spoken about him, and a lot of competitors have spoken about him, saying that it takes a lot of mental pressure. I mean, like competing with Lewis is so physically and mentally draining that even Max's mom, she said after the Abu Dhabi race that he was done. He was exhausted. All he did was just stayed at home and ate home cooked food for a while. So that's what it takes to surpass someone like Lewis Hamilton. I'm pretty sure Max Verstappen has taken that top step. So whoever is going to win next, they have to beat this man.
Yeah, but I have a interesting question for you. Do you ever think, okay, and I'm just maybe if you win, I could, let's have this as a bet on this channel now.
Okay.
Do you think Sergio Perez will win? Obviously, assuming that Red Bull have this dominant car for say 2 or 3 more years, do you think Perez will win the world championship? Yes or no?
No, absolutely no. Because even though they have a dominant car, Max Verstappen is on some other level. And Perez is an absolute team player. I think a couple of races ago, I said that maybe Carlos is better than Perez, but I take it back and I believe that, they both are in par. They both are excellent teammates, uh, bringing very decent points for the team, what they're supposed to. And to be able to surpass Max, and I believe that Max has just reached his prime, so it will be at least 3-4 years minimum before his prime goes off, or maybe we haven't even seen the prime of Max yet. So fat chance.
Yeah, but I feel in this race, right, two people who are probably not in their prime, but at
Hmm.
least got some points for their team were those two Spanish guys, which is Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso, right? With whatever little they had, they somehow got that car home. I mean, bro, like Alpine is, I don't know why, like they're somehow performing and correctly, no one really wants to drive for them. That's the
Yeah,
irony there, right? They just want to be on, they're somewhere in the top. McLaren is somewhere out, right? They couldn't even go, they couldn't overtake, right? They were 12th and 15th. Uh, the other guys were pretty much somewhere in the middle, right? You can just kind of bucket them in the middle, but these two guys somehow pushed it in, especially Alpine, right? Being a midfield car, they're starting to break away from the midfield. But
definitely,
yeah,
definitely. I mean, we saw some upgrades in the McLaren, but then McLaren literally failed to, their qualifying pace was great, but their race pace was absolutely bad. And also they got very unlucky in the first lap, and they couldn't get the track position then, and they spent their life after that behind Albon. And and the surprising thing was the straight line speed of that Williams was insane. I mean, what was happening? There is the DRS train is literally stuck behind Albon for God knows how many laps. And they would just cover up, cover up, cover up. And in the first sector, Albon would just pull away without DRS. And these guys are like open and they're trying to come, but there's nothing happening. I mean, wow. What was
I
that?
think Albon's picture that he uploaded sums up the whole thing, right? That
Yeah.
stretched picture of the Williams, right?
Yeah.
And Jack, people are not able to overtake this Albon's car.
Man, Albon is one of the most chill dudes in F1, I feel. I mean, what a drive. Absolutely brilliant driver. It's a shame that he couldn't perform for Red Bull. Just like Gasly, another classic driver because Albon got points, Gasly got points, and also with his green brick, Sebastian Vettel got crazy. You know, he came eighth. So great for these guys. I mean, well done.
Somehow, Alpine,
Hmm.
Williams, Aston Martin are kind of coming up, right? And people like McLaren are going backwards in this whole train.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that actually kind of gets me to the point, maybe, and I'm just getting into driver contracts very early,
Hmm.
right? But maybe that Norris has made a mistake, right, by signing a long-term deal with McLaren. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. At this point, as a very simple fan and not as someone who knows development, a lot of technicality, he should have just waited this season or two, and then he should have seen, okay, let me see now, right, what to do. But maybe, and Piastri would be shitting in his pants. He'll be like, bruh, I'm leaving this car and I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
But
Mm. But again, I was just listening to his Beyond the Grid podcast. McLaren is planning a comeback by 2024. That is the year they felt that Norris feels that, you know, they might be there somewhere in the front competing with the top three guys, top two guys. And maybe, you know, even there could be chances if things go well that they are fighting for a win. But as of now, their trajectory does not look anything like that. But you never know because they had a great comeback from 2015 to 2019. You know, when they were almost like back of the grid car, and unluckily for Fernando Alonso, he was driving for McLaren then with I think Stoffel Van Dorn,
yep.
and it was just bad luck. I
And
mean,
he was making Norris get coffee and all for him. Coffee
really.
or tea, whatever. There's actually this video where he comes and gives the cup and then Fernando drinks and then he comes to take it back. And I think at that time he was the reserve driver or some shit like that.
Oh,
But
damn.
it's really funny. It's really funny.
Only Alonso can do such things, man. But what a king of bad career choices, no? I mean, like, what, you know, I was listening to this, I was seeing this video today, and they said that apparently after 2008, Fernando was supposed to go to Braun Mercedes and he declined that offer. And Jensen Button went in with Rubens Barrichello, and you know the result, right? Rest is history. I mean, and like look at Braun's luck. Uh, the very same company got sold off or you know turned into Mercedes later. Like Ross Braun was the guy who built it. Who knows? We would have seen Alonso alongside with Michael Schumacher and Mercedes for a couple of years, and he could have gone on to win a few championships also with Mercedes. You never know, but Fernando, man, a driver of his caliber deserves at least five championships and
Yep.
5 to 7 maybe. But it's a shame.
Yeah. But hopefully at least next year, right, with Aston Martin. I don't know what Aston Martin is going to do for 2 or 3 more years. But
Yeah,
at least next year, I really hope that he actually gets a good car, right? And it would be a shame if it becomes like Vettel, like how he had this year, right?
yep,
He's pretty much driving in the end, and Fernando is probably just trying to defend Gotifi or someone like that.
yeah,
I mean, we don't want to see some scene like that. But you know what? Something that's going to be interesting this week, I think. I mean, we pretty much talked about the whole Spa scenario, right? There was no rain. was Max dominance and stuff. But some interesting news that are coming this week is that Oscar Piastri's this whole case is going to go to the Contract Recognition Board. I think it's called CRB. So hopefully by, I don't know, hopefully by next year, by next week, we might know what could be kind of the direction that would take. And also one more news that Spa is,
Also, I think the deposition of Oscar Piastri is happening today, as in like
yeah,
29th
yeah,
of August. Okay, that'll be fun. What comes out
yeah.
of it?
But one more good news is that Spa would still be on the calendar next
Yay!
year. Yeah, and after post that, I think the African GP is coming in.
Yeah,
But at least for one more year, we have this wonderful track.
correct. And what do you think of this year's race? How do you rate it out of 10?
I think, see, maybe out of 10, I would say it is 7, right? And probably I divide the race into 3 sections, which is the starting, which was fun and chaotic, right? The mid section was, as usual, pretty much boring. And the end section was a result that we all knew, right? It's like that Bollywood movie where, or like a typical mass movie where you know the climax that the hero is going to finish the villain after taking some punches. We pretty much knew that, hey, look, Max is going to come, then there's going to be Perez, and there's going to be Sainz, and no one's going to really ruffle that order, right? But
Yeah.
what do you think of this year's Spa, especially considering last year's Spa was a shithead?
Yeah, last year's Spa was the worst race, and it was unfortunate because of the rain. But this year, it was quite a decent race. I mean, obviously, it's not compared to something like like a Silverstone or Austria. But then, like you said, right, a 7 out of 10 actually is a perfect number because we actually got to see a lot of overtakes, especially in the Kemmel Straight, uh, and a lot of drama. And in the opening lap, especially, all the crash and the Hamilton drama flying out. And yeah, it was a fun race in the beginning, but like you said, later it became a little bit monotonous because the overtakes became less. Also, the track is so long, right? I mean, 7 kilometers long. If Max Verstappen is here, uh, the last guy would be somewhere in some corner. So even to lap, also it is a little difficult because the gap is like 1.1 minute and 50 seconds and all that. So yeah, but Spa, very iconic track, and I think it was decent. Yeah, I hope it stays next year.
With that being said, we're moving to the next track, which is the coming race. It's at the middle of the triple header.
Yeah.
It's the RN. Sorry, it's the
It's the orange army.
it's the Orange Army, which is going to take over the next track, which is in Zandvoort.
Yep. That is going to be quite a fun track because even last year's race was quite fun, right? Although Max dominated it, Lewis tried to almost chase him, but I believe he could not because Max was already ahead. And we remember that Valtteri's moment from last year when Valtteri, please abort fastest lap. and he already did fastest lap. I mean, that was epic. The drivers describe it. Apparently, it's quick and it's like insanely quick and 4.3 kilometers long. It has very short straights, actually, uh, some 670 meters, one of it, and the other is also around 570, and not as long as Spa at all. But then with the current cars that are like literally staying closer to each other, I believe there might be some nice overtakes that we can see. And especially there is a banking corner, which is, I believe, more than previous record holding banking, which was 18 degrees. I think this is like 19, 20 degrees or something, which is quite steep actually. And yeah, it's going to be crazy. Max's army is going to be there. And what are your thoughts about Zandvoort? What do you think is going to happen?
More than Zandvoort, I think this year's race is going to be. I mean, we have to leave Red Bull aside, right? Which is that we know they're going to be dominate, and Sergio is going to come second, and feel bad for Sergio because it's like he's the eternal number 2 now, right? With Red Bull dominating, unless and until Max makes a mistake. But I think one interesting thing is going to be the thing that we spoke about, which is Ferrari versus Mercedes. That's going to be something that's going to play out because Russell has been consistent. Hamilton would definitely not want to make a mistake, right? And obviously, Leclerc would at least want to have a redemption from whatever shit race he had this time, right? But it's going to be again these two teams that are going to play out, and I think it's getting a lot more closer, and probably we might see that playing out in Zandvoort, and maybe in the midfield, Alpine again. It's going to be a game for the fourth. Oh, yeah, for the fourth, right? And Alpine is going to really come across, but I think that's going to be the interesting part of this race, which is Ferrari, Mercedes, and Alpine versus the rest. And I think,
I believe Ferrari might close down the gap between them and Red Bull. But again, I think Red Bull is going to be further and faster because their upgrades for Spa were insane, and it was a very high downforce track, as we know. So is Zandvoort apparently. It's a very high downforce track, quick corners, etc. But then the setup is quite different. Ferrari just were not ready. I mean, it felt like, what are we guys doing during the summer break? I mean, we all waited 1 month to get one more heartache. What is this? So I feel like overall pace was not there in Ferrari last race, and minor strategic mistakes, luckily not huge ones, but then the car didn't feel great. That's what even Science also said, and he just avoided that whatever Russell overtake. But yeah, I think Mercedes is doing great. Although they didn't have quali pace, they had quite a good race pace. But let's see how Zandvoort is going to go. But I sure am excited because it is such different setup for all these tracks, right? I mean, Spa, it's like full heavy downforce, and even for Zandvoort. But then Zandvoort has like really challenging corners, fast corners, unlike Spa. Spa is absolutely fast corners, but then I believe Zandvoort is of different nature altogether, right? And then there is Monza, which is like another high downforce setup, but then a different one altogether. So
yep.
definitely advantage Red Bull, but um, I hope there is like some battle in front. I mean, at this point, championship is almost over, but then we don't want to miss out on some great battles in the race. And I believe fans want that. I believe even drivers want that, right? I mean, nobody wants to win comfortably in the front.
What are your quick predictions? Top three.
Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton.
Hmm.
What are
You've
your
taken
predictions?
you've taken guys from all the teams and put. I feel it's going to be Verstappen, Perez, and Leclerc,
Okay.
and then maybe Hamilton and Russell and Sainz.
And any wild predictions?
If I were to say, I'll be like I take all the stones and chappals coming for saying this, which is that maybe Max has a DNF, right? If I were to be very very wild.
No, that is making the championship interesting. Max is like, I think the fans are getting bored. Let me reduce the gap between me and Leclerc. But yeah, my wild guess would be that Haas will do better because they can't do any more worse because Spa was just horrible. But I
Yep.
think Zandvoort will kind of suit uh, Haas because it's little similar to what do you call Austria, right? Where fast yet quick corners, right?
Yep.
So let's see. It's going to be fun for sure, and we don't know how the deck is going to be like tire deck, but certainly a nice weekend that we had, and I hope it gets better. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, guys. Hope you also keep your fingers crossed, and we'll see you in the next week's podcast. Until then, keep watching F1.
Keep
Da,
watching the
da,
Right Now
da,
show.
da, 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 da. Will I get a copyright strike for this? Da, 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 da,
Da, da,
da,
da.
da.